Hi, this is Teronsuke from CGbytes.com. You are watching part 3 of our Spotlight interview with Sixus1, and I'm here with Les.
Hey,
And we're going to pick up where we left off. What is the one thing that you wish you never made, and why? And
oh,
don't be
well,
shy either. Don't be shy.
my answer on this is will probably surprise a lot of people. Um, I would say the one thing I wish I'd never made is also the one thing that I'm almost the proudest of, and that's Scarlett.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we get
Be-
to the why now.
because I'm incredibly proud of her. I love her. She's a great figure. And I use her for artwork. I use her for my own stuff all the time. And the people who've bought her typically have really loved her. Um, but my timing on her, I worked on her off and on for 6 years. And that's not like consecutive work. I mean, it's not like, oh, it took 6 years to make this human figure. There's a lot of people out there in this who are like, oh, human figures, it takes so long. And you have to, like, come on, guys, really. It doesn't. It's not that hard. And I know I'm going to piss people off by saying that. And I don't really care. But the uh, the thing is, I put a lot of work into her to make her what I wanted in a human female. And she's all that and a bag of chips, as far as I'm concerned. I love it. But I kept shelving it. I would do some stuff, not set it aside. I'd do some stuff, not set it aside, go on and work on other stuff, and so on and so forth. So, over the course of like 6 years' time, she grew and finally became what I released. Yay! Finally got her out the door. Well, the reason I think I wish that I had never done her is, I spent all this time on her and I fell in love with her. But and folks who've used her typically have really liked her, like I said. But because I waited so long to put her out, um, a lot of other human figures kind of came and went along the way, and it seems like Scarlett may have kind of missed her window as a product.
Uh,
Um, and so because and there was the site which will remain nameless here, obviously. The primary site that I was selling through at the time of her release. Um, Everybody's going to know who I'm talking about, but I'm still not going to say the name.
right.
But the
You
primary
already
site,
said it in part 1 or part 2, so it's okay.
uh, the so yeah, they went through a big site change at the time, and then just a couple weeks after she comes out, there's this giant site change, and there's uh, Daz Studio comes back with iRay, and then I think it's V7 came out, and it was like I couldn't, if I had just sat down and tried to write some algorithm for the worst possible time to drop a new human figure into the market, I could not have dreamed it would have been as bad as what I did. So because of that, it's like I think the reason that I regret her is um because I put so much time into her, and then I made my big screw up with her was in timing of releasing her, and so it just kind of it just didn't catch on the way I had really hoped it would. And the thing is, she was never meant to be like a Vicky killer or anything like that. I have no misconceptions about that. People have a lot of time and money invested in certain figures and certain catalogs, and that's fine. That's great. Enjoy it. You paid your money for it, man. Just that's fine. But sometimes something new can come along. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the Hivewire folks experienced some of this too, with Dawn and so on. They got a little bit of traction with it, and are sticking with it, just like I'm sticking with Scarlet. But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of it's not something I ever intend to do again. I'll put it that way. I think before we were talking, and I said, that if there's a client who wants me to work on human figures, I'll probably do that. Or if there's somebody comes along and says, "Hey, you want to work with us?" and it's some people who I'd really like to work with, then I'll consider it. But this is definitely Scarlett and the male counterpart, Jonathan, who's been sitting in development for as long as she has, he's actually still here, and I haven't released him yet because it was just like, well, no, not yet.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm almost tempted to pop him up on screen so people can get a look at him, but why not? Let's just do that. Oh wait, there's she is. Let me pop him in here real quick while I'm talking about it. The So I mean, I am going to release him because like I said in the earlier part of this, I'm very much if I start it, I'm going to finish it kind of guy.
Right.
Um, so you might have to edit this because this is going on to YouTube. I think he comes in with his junk showing. So there we go. I think let me just see. It actually works with the genitalia feature in Poser, so there's that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the little things I like doing, but yeah, this is just a quick shot of him in the viewport. But so yeah, Scarlett and Jonathan are like really the last time that I intend to do human figures for Poser, just for a lot of reasons. But I love them, and the thing is, basically I wanted to go out on a high note as far as human figures go. So these are figures that I really want to support and make stuff for a long time. They use all kinds of stuff that's like the skin weights, all kinds of things under the hood of Poser that it's just a shame not seeing that stuff used in more figures. So there's that. There you can see some pretty nifty stuff with him. But yeah, anyway, to answer the question a little more directly, yeah, my biggest regret really is Scarlett and vicariously Jonathan, just because of timing issues and the way that plays out in the market. So you end up you put so much time into something and you really want it to do well. Sometimes it doesn't, So or sometimes it's so odd to say because it's like she didn't do badly. She still sells. She's still moving units and she's still selling. It just didn't do as well as I would have liked.
Yeah.
And definitely getting crushed under a really a very disappointing site design change, at a major vendor or a major outlet. A couple of issues with that kind of stuff, followed by the timing of other stuff from Daz and so on. It was like, damn it, could I have picked a worse time? No, I probably could. So yeah, that makes it my worst regret. As far as the actual figures go, though, I love them. So, but anyway, yeah, that's my biggest regret in this stuff.
Now, with all the changing that's gone on since you first joined the world of 3D, and the now ever-changing climate of 3D, what do you see as the pros and cons today? Where do you see the industry heading as on the course it's on now?
Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one to answer. Actually, 10 years ago, I could have predicted exactly where we are today, and I did numerous times with numerous people and various conversations and things. And that's not to sound like, egotistical or anything. It's just, there's a vantage point that I've had at times in different projects and things with different clients and so on and so forth. There's been a lot of things that I've kind of been privy to that gave me that foresight back then. And I've never been 100% happy with my predictions either. I've been like, it's like, these are things I see coming and I'm not necessarily fond of much of any of them, but this is going to happen. And now that we're here, with major outlet site mergers and so on and so forth, that kind of stuff, now that we're here, it really puts an odd feeling on the whole business. And it's a very shaky feeling right now in our little industry. So the thing that I would say to anybody who's maybe thinking about trying to get into it is, first and foremost, don't think you're going to do it for the money. That is
Definitely.
that ship set sail a long time ago, and that's not to say that you can't make good money at this. I mean, I make pretty good money, but I would guarantee you that I don't make anywhere near what a lot of people would think I do.
Right.
Guarantee. Yeah, absolutely no question there. So you're not going to make the kind of money at this that maybe you would have um, 7 or 8 years ago, unless you do certain things. I mean, yeah, I guess there are ways and all that, but the advice that I would give is really kind of the same advice I would give if you're going into just about anything: is do it because you love it. Do it because you've got ideas and you want to see them brought to life. Um, you know, because then the act of doing it becomes its own reward, and it's not as big a deal if you don't make a ton of money, when something releases. I have products that I've released. I'll be honest, there are some products I've released that their first month out, they most certainly did not cover their development time cost. Not by a damn sight. Does that mean they were a bad choice? No. It means that I made something I liked and I put it out. For whatever reason, it didn't get seen or didn't connect, or it happens.
Yeah.
Now, could
Quick question. Take that product for example that did not cover its development costs its first month out. Today, has it made up its costs?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So as
So
long as you're in it for the long haul,
that's exactly
you
where I
got
was about to
covered.
go with that. Was that there's also the factor of longevity,
Hmm.
and that's something that I'm really proud of our track record with, um, in this business, is that a lot of folks get real bent out of shape when they put something out and it doesn't turn over a ton of money its first month. And I'm like, well, but is it? But here's the thing: if your idea is for a product that is, this is going to sound really offensive and probably piss some people off, and I don't mean to. I honestly don't. Um, if your idea for a product is so generic that it can't make a splash its first month, or it can't stand up to the test of time, then that was a bad idea. Um, like, there are so many different kinds of, let's say, pose packs. There are a bazillion different kinds of pose packs for certain types of themes and things.
Right.
And if somebody said, "Oh, I'm thinking about doing this, that, or the other kind of pose pack," I'd say you're crazy. Don't. Well, why are you bothering with that? Oh, well, I hear that it'll make a lot of money. Well, it might if you get it seen in the right place by the right people, and it clicks with a couple of folks who mention it. Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
The odds of that happening are really against you.
Yep.
Whereas, if you make something that is because you had a passion for it, then you get to enjoy the process as much as whatever reward it brings back to you. And that's, as artsy fartsy and impractical as it sounds. I've actually found that there's a net gain to that beyond just the momentary enjoyment of what you make, because the other part of that, the kind of ephemeral sort of part of that, is that if you enjoy what you make and you make it with passion, you love what you do, then Rebecca is always on me. She's like, she'll look at something that maybe somebody's asked me to make, or maybe it was some idea tossed off and I just did it. Like I said, I try to finish everything I start, but she'll look at me sometimes and say, "I'm not putting that out," because um, you know she'll look at something and say, "Your heart wasn't in it. That was a waste. I'm not
Yeah.
putting that out." You'd be surprised how many things that we actually sit on that never see the light of day, because but I give her, she's the final arbiter. Rebecca runs the shop as far as what gets released and management goes. And if she looks at something and says, "Your heart was not in that. I could tell it," it's not going to move. She can call them. She knows it. But at the same time, there's something she'll look at and be like, I can tell you were excited to make that. That's going to do well. That is the single best gauge of whether something will actually perform, is if my heart's in it.
Yeah.
Um, the new creatures that we have out are doing really well. These new anthropomorphic creatures, with these goofy names. I love these goofy names. Rebecca's naming them. I let her name them. I was like, okay, honey, you can name these, and I actually have come to like the naming on them, like Hal Patterson, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the alligator guy. Well, it's because the Indian name for alligator was Hal Patter. She's like, oh, he's Hal Patterson. Okay, that's goofy, but I like it. And then Rhinoceros, that one was a little bit of a groaner, but whatever. And then there's another one coming soon that is really really nasty looking. I like him, but these are actually Killian's creatures.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing probably 85-90% of the work on them, and they're his designs too. They're completely his brainchildren. And it's great because when he puts that when something like that, you could see it with him. Same as with me, when the passion's there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I want to make this rhino guy, this big heavy," and you could just see it when he starts talking about it. If he starts talking about something, yeah, I was thinking about doing this. No, don't do it. The minute I hear that tone, no, don't, just don't even bother. Don't. But if he comes in, he's like, I got this thing that I want to do, and you can see this energy. It's like, yes, that's what you make.
Yeah.
That's what you do, because that's where your passion is. It's going to show in the work. You're going to care about it. You're probably going to finish it faster because you're going to work harder on it. It's just how it is. And so actually, that's probably the biggest thing that I would tell folks, who may be thinking about getting into this or who are into this and are just maybe, looking for a little insight or whatever is, for God's sakes, people, put some heart into it. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but there's plenty of panties out there. There's plenty of panties, and there's plenty of bras, and there's plenty of freaking, there's tons of skimpy clothing. There's lots of little stuff that people have made, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I get it. There's a market for that. That's cool. But for the love of God, people, use your imaginations. Dream up something. Come up with new clothing designs. Do something different. We work in a medium that is 100% pure imagination brought to life through pixels and polygons.
Exactly.
Why? I've had to watch for 15 to 20 years now as people regurgitate the same stuff. It's like any vendor in this who wants to know, I'm seeing something stagnant with my numbers or this, that, and the other. Well, did you make panties again? Did you make a bra again? Did you make a bathing suit again? Are you making the same stuff you've been making for 10 years or 5 years or however long? Or even worse, same stuff 100 other people or more, or 200 or 1,000 have been trying to make for all that time? Maybe there's plenty of it, and maybe you're getting lost in the noise because you're not making something that shouts through it. I mean, oh God, that's something I get really kind of bent over. I see so much skill and so much talent, more talent. I mean, because I work in the broader 3D industries, in gaming and film and so on, and I will tell you right now, there is at least as much talent and skill inside the Poser and Daz Studio content community. There is at least as much here, if not more, than there is just about anywhere else in 3D. And yet, I look and I see the same things made over and over and over and over because people are such cowards that they're afraid to be daring, And then people ask me sometimes, man, you guys have been in this forever. How have you managed to stay in it forever, for so long and stay fresh and all that? It's like, well, because, I don't know what other people make typically. I only notice what's in the marketplaces when somebody points it out to me or I have to go see it. I don't go looking. I intentionally keep myself sequestered from everybody else in a lot of ways because I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to start thinking what's going to be hot, what's going to be the big thing. I want to make what I want to make, and I want to make it the best I can make it, and hopefully people will respect that and they'll pick up on the passion of it and run with it. And that is, if anybody says what's the secret to Sixus1's success through the years, that's it. Literally, the secret to our success is I do what I damn well want to do.
Yeah.
And that is that. And if you're in this and you are not doing that, then in my opinion, you're chasing people. You're chasing after other people. You're chasing after other people's leads instead of blazing new ground. And there's in a business that is all about imagination and art and fantasy and creating cool things, to not be just cutting loose and dreaming wildly and being daring. To not be doing that, to me, is just such a shame. It's a waste of skill and talent.
Well,
So,
I think a lot of it comes to the fact that it's a mindset people are stuck in. When I started actually selling content myself, I wanted to go sell stuff at that place that we haven't named, that we
oh
kind
yeah.
of name and won't name, right? One of the things that bugged me on that was the
Oh,
limits that they
and for,
had.
for the record, I have a great relationship with everybody there. There's no hard feelings or anything about anything. I'm not, yeah, so on and so forth. I just, I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want anybody there to hear this and go, "Oh, you were talking crap." No, I'm not talking crap about any of you guys.
Right.
I'm not. It's all,
He's just not wanting to plug another marketplace during
yeah.
another
I'm trying to
marketplace's
show
interview of him.
respect to the folks who involved here by not overly plugging other places.
Right, right. But the problem that I had with that other place was, as a new vendor, you're only allowed X products until you make X money in sales. And I was in the chat with a handful of vendors, and I'm like, I don't know how to get around this. And every single vendor in that chat room said the same thing: just make bras and panties. So it's kind of a mindset that it sells, so that's why I'll make that. And then once I've made past my benchmark, and I'm allowed to upload as much as I want to, as long as they keep selling, then maybe I can branch out from there. But generally, I think they get pigeonholed in. They made the bra, they made the panties, and I can't knock that. I need that. As a texture artist myself, I need stuff I can work with. So, thank you for making bras and panties, people. But Les does have a point. We do have enough.
Oh yeah, there's plenty out there, and there's just so many. I mean, it's like I have had people ask me in other interviews and stuff in the past. They're like, "Where do you get your ideas? How do how do you come up with your ideas?" I'm like, I don't know. I just I kind of, in a way, I'm a lot like a little kid in that I dream, and I play. That's what this is. This is playtime. This is play for me, and I get to I just dream things. I dream things up. I'm totally comfortable living in a world of imagination. In fact, I'm far more comfortable. I don't leave my house a whole lot. I don't leave the studio a whole lot because my work, whether it's in Poser and Daz products, or whether it's with clients, or whether it's doing my comics or whatever, um, you know, I've built a career where I get to live in a world of imagination, and that's awesome because that's the world I like being in. Because God knows the real one really sucks.
Right.
Uh, but uh, but the thing is, it's like when I look at other artists and folks out there, it strikes me as fearful, as this fear of failure. This, oh well, I need to make so much money, or I need to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, what are you afraid of? You're afraid of not having money. You're afraid you can't pay a bill. You're afraid of, what? Stop being afraid. For God's sakes, the worst things in the world, and sometimes I do this. Sometimes I'll take little things like this. My son listens to me talk like this all the time while I work. Is I'll take things like this, and then in almost everything with me ends up expounding into some much larger philosophy. So I won't get too far gone with it right now. But what I was going to say is, it seems to me like the worst things in the world come from fear. I mean, in big serious things like racism or just different kinds of oppression and whatever. The worst things in life, absolutely every single time, they come from fear and believing this lie that you have to be afraid of something. Well, stop it. No is the most powerful word you have available, and you could say no to being afraid of things. So just stop. Just stop being afraid, and as soon as you make a conscious decision to stop being afraid of taking chances and dreaming, at that point, you know, there are no bounds. You can do anything. You literally can do absolutely anything you put your mind to at that point because you don't have fear holding you down. And, I mean, when I first cast my lot into this business way, way back when my children were wee ones, um, right off the bat, if I had said, "Oh, well, this is doing this looks like what people want, and so on and so forth," then I would have ended up making the same things other people made. Instead, I said, "What's everybody doing?" Oh, well, I'm going to do this because this looks cool to me, and I want to do it. Nobody else is doing it. Huh? Okay, cool. Here we go. Let's roll. You know, and all these years later, I've seen so many people come and go out of this, getting burned out, getting whatever. I mean, I experienced some burnout sometimes myself just because I work too much. But years and years later, we're still here and still hopefully relevant and viable and putting out things that kind of can stand up. Like they're not. We put out a lot of stuff that's not dependent on other people's figures. We
Right.
put out a lot of stuff that's not. Now we've kind of embraced Daz Studio as well as Poser. So again, it's just like it's a lack of fear. I don't know what fear is. I don't. I don't understand fear. I don't understand people who have fear in their heart to keep them from doing amazing things. It just boggles my mind. I'm like, life is too short, and we have every day there's an opportunity to do something really cool. For God's sakes, people, stop being afraid and do it. Don't be afraid to let your imagination run loose. It's like, and if clothing is what you want to do, that's great. Make it beautiful. Don't just make it to get it out the door. Make it gorgeous. If you want to do realism, you want to do something based on something in the real world, that's what you're passionate about, great. But don't be afraid to do it and try to make it the absolute best it can be. Anything else is a waste of your time and everybody else's, you know? So that's kind of my sort of philosophical pep speech. It's actually not. Sometimes it may sound pessimistic, but it's not. It's actually very optimistic. It's like,
Right.
don't be afraid. You can do it. Get off your ass and make something happen. That's actually my advice. I tell my kids that. I tell when I'm doing a comic book show and younger artists come up to me there in comics. I'm like, yeah, stop being afraid. Do literally every place as I and maybe it's my age, maybe it's I'm getting older or whatever, but just every facet of life, I just look at people and I'm like, what are you afraid of? Stop being afraid. Stop being cowards. You know, make what you're gonna make. Do what you're gonna do. Be who you're gonna be. Just go balls to the wall with it, and throw caution to the wind and see what happens. What's the worst thing that happens? You fail? Great. You failed. Learn something. Pick yourself up and do it again.
Yep.
So,
Indeed.
but that's me. That's kind of my deal. So,
Yeah. So what have you got going on for the future? What can we expect to see from Sixus1 in the coming weeks and
oh
months?
lordy, that's a good one.
That you're able to talk about.
Okay, that I'm able to talk about. Well,
I got
there
some
are.
stuff. I'm making some things.
Uh, I've just wrapped up. There are two very large exclusive projects I've been working on for deployment through CGbytes
Mhm.
that are, I feel, some of the best work I've ever done. Typically, I don't really like working for other people's figures, but for this to kind of help launch things and move things along at CGbytes, I am doing stuff both for Vicky and Mike and the G3 figures. So, and actually, what if you can see this outfit here that I've been working with here is part of one of these projects. Shh, don't tell anybody. Um, but yeah, we just finished a massive, I want to say, fantasy sort of primitive fantasy project. I won't give you more details than that. That should be uh, available soon through CGbytes. So I won't say anything else about it. Hopefully it will be there, but I'm not going to say anything else in case it's not, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Right.
And then coming soon is this really massive. God, it's massive. This sci-fi project. The stuff that I'm doing for CGbytes is these are projects and product series that are on a scale that I think is unheard of in what we do, which is kind of, it's kind of going back to the well for me, because it's something that we've always done. We've always done these enormous product lines and huge themes, and just, it's like, we'll pick a theme and do so much work in it that you could about make a movie out of it by the time we're done. Which, if anyone would like to fund such an endeavor, please contact me. But all we need is a render farm, and yeah, I'll get you a list. But yeah, with CGbytes, there's some opportunities here. Just a number of things lined up that allowed us to embrace some ideas and do some things on a scale that I don't think has been done before. I don't want to say for sure, don't want to step on anybody's toes if it has, but I am about 99% sure no one has done anything as as large in scope, as a cohesive set of products as what we're doing for CGbytes. And I really hope that, I also know there are some really popular artists, again, not saying names, but some really popular artists from various communities who will be adopting ideas and things, or using these things. There's all kinds of crap. God, I can't say
Neurogenesis.
I can't say too much without giving things away, and it really sucks. It's like, oh, this is all so cool. Damn it.
So the best thing we can say is stay tuned.
Oh yeah. There's like it's so funny. I mean, with things that are going on in the market right now, I see a lot of people. There's a lot of grumbling, and there's a lot of, and I get it. There's some crazy crap moving around out there, and some places there's things. There's some places there's movement that looks weird, and some places there's stagnation that's really boring. Well, let me tell you, it's like what we're doing at CGbytes. If you feel like any place in this market is stagnant, trust me, come here.
Yeah, right.
There's no stagnation here. We have kicked the tires and put the pedal to the metal on these things, and just you're going to see a combination of quality, imagination, and volume.
Yep.
Unlike anything that's hit this market ever before. So, and I'm really damn proud to have been able to have this opportunity to start doing some stuff on this scale. That's always been a frustration with me, is no matter how big we could take a product line, I always felt like I had to abandon it somewhere along the way. And the stuff we're doing at CGbytes is so fully realized and just huge. I mean, the first project coming out, I couldn't even tell you just in one little chunk of it how many props there are in it. It's just crazy. It's absolutely insane, the size of this stuff. So there's that. But wait, there's more. Because
there's more.
Yeah, but so I am a compulsive overachiever, and so I tend to be involved in like a dozen different things at once. But that's only because I'm afraid I'm going to die tomorrow, so I'm going to get as much done as I can today.
There you go.
But there is my comic book that is my baby, that I always like to plug any chance I get. It is not out yet, but I really encourage people to swing by our Facebook page for it. The book is called Apocalypse Girl, and if you followed If you go to youtube.com, Sixus1 Media, that's where you'll find our YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of different videos up there showing things in progress with the work on the graphic novel. Um, it is my baby. As somebody who started his career as a comic book artist, um, comics are my first love. And with this, I am writing, penciling, inking, coloring, currently lettering, although I have a gentleman who I'm probably going to pay to re-letter it, um, and doing painted covers for it. Um, it's all my baby. It's the first of a series of 3 graphic novels that will each run 100 to 120 pages. The first one is around halfway finished right now. We are. I've actually had 3 publishers want to come on board so far, and have turned each of them down because uh, various and sundry reasons. The deal has to be right.
Right.
But I'm confident that, and if I never get the deal that I want, then I'll publish it myself. That's not beyond me to do. Um, so at some point, even with a publisher, we will probably do some kind of a Kickstarter where we offer all kinds of different swag from the project. Like we're talking about T-shirts and posters, and because of our 3D capabilities, we're also going to do statuary of the characters, which a lot of the stuff will be available at some point through a Kickstarter. Um, and there's all kinds of things going to shake down with that. But in the meantime, Apocalypse Girl, it's fun. It's fun, but very serious. It's just a good meaty read. I think a very emotional story, and obviously post-apocalyptic theme. And if you go to facebook.com/apocalypse girl, that's kind of your touchstone for keeping track of what's going on with that. I post regular updates there as I get pages done or studies and so on and so forth. There's lots of cool stuff there. So, but thinking about the statuary and collectibles that will go with that book, brings me to the next thing that we're also involved in is with a new partner that we've picked up, a new associate company down in Florida called Collapse Industries, who they are, in my opinion, they are the absolute premier resin casting company in that field. These guys do work that is just sickeningly beautiful. Um, and they combine 3D printing. They use the highest quality 3D printing techniques to take my sculpts and use them to make the masters that they then run molds from for doing resin casts. I just signed off or got signed off on the concept art to a 6-figure series with them, that I'll be going into. I've actually finished pre-production. I'll be doing production work on that sometime in the next month or so. And then those resin figures from Collapse should be available probably sometime this summer through their website and through different conventions and things that they go to, and quite possibly any comic book shows that I'm going to be showing up at, hopefully later on in the year. So, which and the final thing is, we haven't really booked out a convention tour for the year yet, but we're working on it, and hopefully I'll be able to announce some dates pretty soon for comic book and comic gaming and pop culture shows where you can come out and meet at least me, maybe myself, Killian, and Rebecca. So
Right on. Right on.
we're extremely busy.
Now, do you have any final words for your fans, your customers, and your fellow 3D community before we wrap this up?
um, God, well, I don't know. You know me, I can talk a mile a minute, so I never really want to shut up. So, if I had anything to leave everyone with, you know, as goofy sounding as it is, I've been doing this stuff. I turned 43 in March. and I've had a career going since I was 19 as an artist. And most of you folks who are listening or watching or whatever have in some way or another been a part of that. So thanks. I appreciate it. Even people who haven't bought my products but have still supported the software that supports my products, even you have vicariously helped make my career happen. And I don't take the or don't get the opportunity to say this like verbally. I say stuff, sometimes on our page, but I don't get the opportunity to say this enough. I really do appreciate all of you guys, all of you folks who support this stuff. A lot of you have become extended family to us through the years, and even a lot of you, so many people who we don't know. Still, your support means the world to us and has allowed me to live and work and do things that are just so cool. So, just God bless every single one of you people. We love you, and we hope you guys will stick around, keep an eye out for stuff we're doing, and you know, if you haven't bought our stuff before, hopefully you'll come on board and support us that way. But even so, uh, this world of 3D and especially Poser and Daz Studio, all that stuff can be really stressful and weird looking sometimes. But at the end of the day, make some freaking artwork. You guys, that's what you're in this for, and I want to see more of it. I want to see more cool stuff because you guys, that's why you're here, and the fact that you're here has let me do this stuff, and it's just all so cool. It works out that way, and I just kind of love everybody for it. So that's it. That's really what I want to leave everybody with.
Sounds great. And I have to mirror that. Yes, keep making cool stuff and things.
Well, yeah,
As Les said, I mean, the industry that we're in, the only limit is literally your imagination and what you're willing to try to do. And just keep going. I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, and possibly reading this. Again, as I said in one of the other parts, if you like this concept, let me know because yeah, we'll do it again sometime. We've got plenty of artists that we spotlighted over the time, just in the past couple of years. Um, I'm sure we could retool some of these to be some audio video interviews, and maybe if the demand is there, maybe we can convince Les to do some podcast type stuff with us every once in a while. Do some Q&As, talk about certain topics and whatnot. Let us know.
I'm always down for talking techniques and showing tips and tricks in art, especially for Poser and Daz Studio users, because there's actually so many things kind of tucked away in these programs and techniques that I think most people just never stumble onto. That it's like I see all the artwork that's out there, and it's like, man, I could tell you guys wanted, I can see what you're wanting to do. Oh, but if you only knew about this would get you
Right.
there. So I love sharing that kind of stuff.
Once again, I am Teronsuke, Community Manager and Social Media Manager from CGbytes.com. My guest today has been Les from Sixus1. Make sure you hit that like button, comment on the video, subscribe, and we'll see you at CGbytes.com.